Hey, how are you? I don't know if he will have rung the bell, I think, but either way, he can. Oh, there it goes.
Good afternoon and welcome to the May 4th meeting of the Columbia Rotary Club. It's great to see everybody today. Out of respect for the speaker, if you will please silence your cell phones. Ann, is Ann Walker here? Ann Walker is not here. Hal here? Hal,
Yep.
am I doing a
Yep.
impromptu?
She's okay.
Still not working, Julia.
Use your stage voice.
Use your stage voice, Hal.
My stage voice, let's pray. Lord, we pray for Ann. Hope she got here not too delayed. It is a problem coming from Sumter, so just be with her, bring her to us safely. Lord, thank you for this day, for this beautiful day after some rain on Saturday and still got some springtime, so thank you for that. Thank you for Mark being here today and for what he's doing. And Lord, just continue to guide and direct us into how to love our neighbor using the four-way test at all times if we can. Bless this food, bless this time. In Christ's name, amen. Amen.
So proudly we hail, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Now, before we sit down, if you will recite the four-way test with me of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Brian. Any thoughts from the visiting rotary?
Do we have any visiting Rotary? Yes. You have this? All right.
Oh, wait, Annie, you have to be introduced.
Should be right there.
The mic's not working, so.
That's okay. Oh, hi.
Yes, speak up.
I'm so delighted to introduce my guest, Ann Richardson. It was Ann who developed the arts performing dance program for Richland too. And very excitedly, she is a wonderful new board member of Columbia Classical Ballet. So thrilled to have her at Rotary. Dr. Ann Richardson.
Anyone else? Glad to hear.
It is wonderful to be here. I am honored, and I am going to learn a lot. Very much.
No one else?
Oh, doesn't look like it. Thank you, Brian. Brawl, you're the only one visiting, so we're glad to have you here. Hope you will come back.
Thank you.
Thank you. So got a couple of housekeeping things we wanted to cover. One is, next week the board has voted on a change in the bylaws, and we'll be voting on it next week, not this week. We wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. And it requires a 2/3 vote of the members that are in attendance. So the bylaws state that past presidents cannot serve on the board in the future and can also not be president. And that made a lot of sense when we were a lot bigger club, but it doesn't really make any sense now, in my opinion. So I propose to the board that we change that part of the bylaws to allow past presidents to serve on the board. I mean, you're on the board the next year anyway, but to serve on it without a wait. And then there to be a 5-year, at minimum 5-year wait before a past president can be the president again. And that's not for me, believe me. What it does is allows people like Catherine Davis here, who's a past president, getting ready to eat her food, to be president in the future and be on our board. We've got a lot of leaders that are exempt from being able to be leaders going forward, and at least on the board. So we all thought that was a really good idea. So we're going to be voting on that next week. You don't have to vote on it today. Just wanted to give you a heads up so you can think about it and let us know if you have any questions or concerns.
Somebody's coming about the mic.
Okay, thank you. Somebody's coming about the mic. All right, great. The other thing is to talk about I talked a lot about wanting to have another service project, and that hadn't come to fruition this year. But I saw something on one of our district Rotary emails that I get. Just get 1 or 2 a year. Kidding, you get a bunch. And it was about a water project. So the Beaufort clubs are sponsoring a water project to clean water. It's for a town in Ukraine whose water tower got destroyed during the war. So what they've done, and the district has joined in too, is they're trying to raise $20,000, and the district is going to match that, or the foundation, I guess, district, whatever, through the foundation is going to match up to $20,000 to make that happen. So the board voted last week on Monday after the meeting to put $1,500 out of our cemetery fund into that to help them fund that water tower in Ukraine. So just wanted to let you know that's our other service project for this year, and it serves one of the main goals of Rotary, which is to provide clean water for folks. So there you go. Good use, and in our opinion, that was a good use of the Century Fund. So without, is it working now? Not yet? Okay, we're working on it. So that's all we've got there. Now, Mike, back if you can come up and you do health and happiness, please.
Good afternoon. I'm going to read a cart message. We get a cart message every week, and thanks to Frank, I get it every week. Thank you, Frank. I'm going to read this. It says, clinical trials are an important part of research to find a prevention and cure for Alzheimer's and other dementias. The hundreds of studies underway, many face a shortage of volunteers. Clinical trials aren't just to be people already facing diagnosis. They require healthy volunteers to understand what normal aging looks like. Also, they can spot the earliest deviations. Diverse participants to ensure new treatments work for everyone, regardless of ethnic or genetic background. With researchers, many trials don't involve medication at all. They study how exercise, diet, even music therapy can change the course of the disease. Participating in these trials gives individuals access to new treatments and availability years before they are diagnosed. Thank you, Frank. Don't forget the blue buckets, Alzheimer's, dementia, great cause. We are a little short from last year. I was talking to David, I got the numbers. We're a little behind from where we contributed last year, so big last push. I think we can get there. We're not too far, but we can get there. Quote of the day, failure is not final. I'm sorry. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. Sir Winston Churchill. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mike.
There we go.
Working out. So now I'm going to ask Jeff Gobby to come up. Jeff Gobby is a relatively new member, and he's going to do his member spotlight today. So thank you, Jeff, for your willingness to tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'd first like to start by thanking Billy Canny, my good friend, for introducing me to Rotary and sponsoring me last year to join. My name is Jeff Godby, and I'm the Vice President and part owner of Superior Plumbing and Gas. My wife Shannon and I are members of Shandon United Methodist Church, where we can be found at the Lifeline service just about every Sunday morning. Combined, we have 4 boys, 2 of whom have finished college. One is a rising senior at USC, and one is a rising junior at AC Florida High School. Shannon is a native of Pittsburgh and is the Director of Human Resources at MUSC. When she's not chasing around her 15-year-old basketball-playing son, she's a competitive runner and volunteers at transitions by serving meals to people trying to get back on their feet. I grew up in Southeast Virginia near the Chesapeake Bay. After graduating from the Virginia Military Institute, I took a job with Ferguson Enterprises, a national plumbing wholesaler, where I first saw the need for people in the trades. So 25 years ago, I started Superior Plumbing and Gas. Over the years, we've become one of the premier residential and light commercial plumbing and gas repair companies in the Midlands. We can handle pretty much any plumbing or gas problem you might run across in your home or office, such as dripping faucets, running toilets, stopped up drains, leaking water heaters, and gas leaks. If water, waste, or gas runs through it, chances are we work on it. After realizing that none of the boys wanted to take over the business, about a year ago, I sold the majority interest of the business to Julius Weathers, who's 20 years younger than me, but he shares my leadership style and ideas for growth, and we plan on working together for the foreseeable future. Outside of Superior Plumbing and Gas, I'm an avid outdoorsman. I'm the scoutmaster of a local Boy Scout troop, and I camp with them every month, and we'll be taking them on a big backpacking trip to Philmont Scout Ranch this summer. I also enjoy hunting, and Shannon and I love spending time on Lake Wateree. In closing, I'd just like to say that whether you have a plumbing need, know somebody who wants to get into the trades, have a kid interested in scouts, or want to join me and my wife in church, I hope you'll call me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, appreciate that. Anybody that would like to do that, please let Billy or Graham know. And it's not easy getting up here and like tell everybody about yourself. So some people might just get out of your own way and come up here and do it. It's great, and I appreciate you doing it, Jeff. So next thing we got is the program. So I'm going to invite Lee Lumpkin up to introduce our speaker for the day.
Hi, everybody. I was so delighted to get this opportunity to introduce Mark Rapp because I only know him a little bit. I met him about a decade ago at the Governor's Mansion. We just happened to be in line together, and I asked him who he was and what he did. And I left that day thinking how absolutely incredible it is that we have these young, brilliant artists that are moving into our community and are and will change its landscape. If you've been so lucky to get to be at Live on Lincoln and have him close every program, our spirits are lifted for at least a week. Or heard him MC other arts events, it's very impactful to me because what I like so much about him is how I feel he embraces all of us. And I think that's something we very, very much need in our city and our state. And on a personal note, I feel like almost every time I get up to speak in front of Richland County and I'm a nervous wreck, then I will look over in the crowd and I will see Mark Rapp and his hat, and I will be reminded, man, he is one of the good guys. So it's my great pleasure to get to introduce Mark Rapp.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, just keep me on track. Okay.
Give it up, Mr. Sam Edwards. Sam Edwards is the Cola Jazz Foundation's Director of Jazz Education and Outreach, and doing an absolutely amazing job. So I want to thank you so very much for this opportunity to stand before you and to be here. I feel very honored. It's a pleasure and a privilege. A lot of amazing people in this room, and I hope to rise to the occasion. Thank you for that introduction. Where you disappeared to? Where'd you go? There you are. And my hat's in the car, but I was like, it's a black hat, but I'm wearing predominantly blue. I was like, let me just. My hair's looking kind of decent today. It's really funny when I go out and I'm not wearing a hat, I'm in disguise. The hat's me like, oh, hey, what's happening, Martin? I can go to the club and play week after week, and if I don't wear my hat, the bartenders don't know me. Which is kind of cool because I get to see how they treat regular people. You know what I mean? Well, good afternoon. My name is Mark Rapp. I'm the founder and executive director of the Cola Jazz Foundation. Cola Jazz exists to strengthen the cultural life of the city of Columbia. Now, jazz is education, jazz is history, it's economic development, jazz is public space. Jazz is people gathering together across age, race, income, background, and neighborhood to experience something alive, beautiful, and deeply human. In 2023, Cola Jazz reached more than 5,000 young people through our outreach programs. We presented 43 public jazz concerts. We reached audiences from more than 86 zip codes, and we paid over $80,000 to local artists. And since then, our work has grown significantly. Today, Cola Jazz reaches 15,000 students annually, primarily in rural and underserved and Title I school communities. And these are young people who may not otherwise have access to live jazz, professional teaching artists, or high-quality arts education experiences. One of the clearest examples is our Jazz for Kids Day at the Coder Center for the Arts. And this year, in 2026, we served 1,700 children through that program. The event was free to all of these schools. Cola Jazz covered the busing costs, the travel expenses, and the cost of the musicians, the cost of the Coder Center. 1,700 fifth graders were able to experience world-class jazz, presentation on jazz history, South Carolina culture. Yeah, so our goal is to make sure that there are no barriers, that there's always access. Our goal is to never leave any child out, any school out, any person out. And for many of those students, this was their first time hearing live jazz, and even for some of the teachers, this was the first time for them hearing live jazz. It was their first time walking to a major performing arts venue. And for all of them, it was a chance to experience the sound, the history, the movement, rhythm, creativity, the culture, the power of jazz. And that matters. Because what they're hearing is improvisation, being able to deal with things that are thrown at you, and being able to deal with it on a soulful and sophisticated level, as opposed to being reactive. It's a very powerful lesson that we all can learn and relearn, and I know I do every single day. They're hearing teamwork. They're hearing discipline. They're hearing listening in action. They're hearing music born from struggle, from resilience, from intelligence and joy. One of my greatest privileges doing all this is we get in front of all these young people, all the teachers do, and we're playing up there. We got bass, we got drums, we got piano, we got saxophone, trombone, the trumpet, and I get a chance to show all these kids, now look at all these different instruments. Do they all look the same? No. Are they all musical instruments? Yes. Do they all sound the same? No. Do they all act the same? Are they played the same? No. Are they all musical instruments? Yes. Well, look around you. We are all different shapes and sizes, or different colors. We come from different backgrounds. We have different life experiences. We come at things from different angles, just like a bass player comes at the music from below. The drummer's driving the train, the trumpet's coming at the music from a whole different perspective, right? So all these different perspectives serving a goal, that's okay. We're able to show these kids and adults in real time that as long as we are serving the collective goal that we're trying to achieve, it is great to have differences of opinion, great to have different experiences, to come at that subject matter from different angles. You benefit from that. If it was all trumpets up there playing the same melody for 45 minutes, it might be cool for a few minutes. Hey, go trumpets. Being a trumpet player, I'm all about it. Yeah, baby. But then you hear the drums. Man, that's different. Why, it's got a groove. That's making me bob my head. And the bass. The piano playing. All serving the same common goal. Do you feel me? You understand what I'm saying? So these kids, they also get to hear South Carolina as part of their own story. There's a great jazz tradition out of South Carolina. You think about New Orleans as being the king of the development of jazz, which rightfully so it is. New Orleans is the port city, right? The best and the worst of the planet were coming in and out of New Orleans, right? Jazz developed because of all these different culture clashes. You gotta imagine all the different languages being spoken, all the different types of food being cooked. And, it's dark to talk about this, but it is history. Jazz came and developed because people from West Africa were brought over as slaves, right? The same thing was happening in Charleston. And I tell my young people, from the darkest, most horrific thing a group of people can do to another people, incarcerate people for no good reason, came the world's greatest light that it will ever know, and that's jazz music. Because from the get-go, jazz took all this adversity and made something beautiful from it. You know the phrase, when someone throws you lemons, you make lemonade. All right, that's the way to put it very simply. It developed exponentially so in New Orleans because the slave laws were more relaxed. South Carolina was very hard, right? They didn't allow that Sunday hanging out in Congress Square and being able to play your drums and to communicate and to take all these different influences, Civil War instruments and the church chords and hymns, and to start playing with them and start to make something of it, right? To survive, resilience, to grow from adversity. I'm a trumpet player, I project. I've got a show on public radio, Rapp on Jazz, and Cola Jazz Presents, and every single time I gotta adjust the mic because I pop my keys just like that. When you play trumpet, you're trained to go every time. The power of break these speakers. Anyway, let me keep moving. We got off script. Cola Jazz supports working artists. Last year, through the work we created, we paid out more than $120,000 to local artists. All those 1099s I had to do, it was a lot. I'm learning how to do QuickBooks now, so I can just... So that means gigs, it means teaching opportunities, meaningful work. It means artists are being valued not only as entertainers, which is great, but also as educators, as mentors, cultural workers, the essential contributors to the civic life of Columbia. We produce concerts, tons of different concerts. Just last night we had a solo piano concert, intimate solo piano concert. We do them once a month in our office space. We were donated a baby grand piano. And once a month we feature a piano player. And we call it Keys and Conversations. So they play, they talk, and we get an inside scoop of, man, it's beautiful. What are you thinking? How the heck did you come up with that? And we get a chance to learn who they are and whatnot. Sold out, it's 30 people, but still, sold out. It was a great time. From that to our concerts at Coger Center for the Arts, to our loft sessions, we do free concerts in the park at Finley Park in partnership with the City of Columbia. We do those once a month on a Friday, although we just had one on Thursday because it was International Jazz Day. We do free concerts over at the Beer Keller called the Jazz Keller. We did some free concerts with Curiosity Coffee And a really cool thing, they're about to brew a Cola Jazz coffee for us, because that's all I live on. I've got 2 kids. I work a lot. I'm trying to be a good husband. I'm trying to stay awake from the, put the kids to bed at 10:30 at night. Your wife's trying to tell you all about the day, and you're just like, fuck, man, that's my sleep. Sorry, I'm a pirate. I don't mean to offend anyone. Please excuse the F-bombs. It's my favorite word. It's so good. It really is. But anyway, that's kind of fun. That's about to come out. It's a dark roast. I wrote dark roast. You can chew on it. I should get like, those tobacco pouches. I should get like a dark roast Cola Jazz pouch. That'll make you like jazz. So festivals, school programs, workshops, radio programs, listening room experiences, community pop-ups. We partner with organizations like the Coker Center for the Arts, South Carolina Public Radio, the schools, Richland Public Library, local venues, civic partners. We have amazingly cool opportunities with South Carolina Ballet. I got to point that out. Mr. William Starr here, a proponent of live music, partnered with the ballet, which you can't beat that. That every single ballet should have live music. So y'all pony up the money and fund that man, because it's very amazing stuff, and he does great work. I'm a little bit biased. My wife is prima ballerina. There's only been 6 in the history of the company, right? And that's 65 years. And Claire Rapp was just promoted to that top tier, which is pretty amazing. If y'all could give her a round of applause. So through all these different programs that we do, we're helping Columbia become known as a city where jazz is alive. It's not nostalgia, it's not background music, but it's a living, working, growing part of who we are as a capital city. We're proud that this work has been recognized. Cola Jazz received the South Carolina Governor's Award for the Arts in 2021. That's the highest recognition you could get for service to the arts in our state. Our annual festival is recognized in the Free Times Best of Columbia competition. I personally was honored to be named one of Columbia Business Monthly's 50 most influential people, and in 2025, I was named a jazz hero by the Jazz Journalists Association. So that's kind of all that's a big deal, but that's kind of a big deal. That's international. So I share those recognitions not as personal trophies by any means, but as evidence that Columbia's jazz movement is being noticed. People are paying attention to what this city is building. And I believe that we are only at the beginning, much to my chagrin, because I've been working my tail off. But there's still so much that can be done and will be done. It's an amazing opportunity in this city. Still, the strongest story is the organization itself. Cola Jazz is building a cultural infrastructure for Columbia in the Midlands. Students are gaining access to live arts education. Artists gain meaningful paid work. Public spaces are being activated. We were awarded a grant through CCCF, Central Carolina Community Foundation. It's called Invigorate Casey. We went into Casey, all these unused spaces, and we earmarked a few of them. I mean, as a jazz trumpet player, I'm very now adept in finding vandal-proof mirrors to install, public use toilets and sinks, lighting, all that kind of stuff. We went in there as a jazz organization. We're physically renovating spaces, and then we celebrated it with live jazz performances and food trucks and community. It was really awesome, really a cool thing. And audiences gather across lines of age, race, income, and background. South Carolina's jazz story is preserved and it's carried forward. Its current impact can be summarized simply, it being the Cola Jazz Foundation. 15,000 plus students reached, 60 plus schools served, 1,700 children gathered for Jazz for Kids Day at Coker Center, more than 120,000 paid to local artists, and at this point, believe it or not, 50 plus year-round events and a growing statewide platform for jazz. So in a capital city working to define its cultural identity, the Cola Jazz Foundation has become its presenter. It's a builder of audiences. There's a P again. A payer of artists, a partner to schools, a steward of South Carolina's musical heritage. and a practical example of how the arts can strengthen civic life in Columbia and across the Midlands. There's a lot of anecdotes I can tell you. Particularly, my main love and passion is being out in schools, and every time we do that, we get feedback from students and teachers. Recently, I got an envelope of 50 letters from these kids saying how much they appreciated us, and just, their drawings and stuff was really amazing. But one story sticks out to me. There was a teacher that wrote, and we didn't solicit this, it was a few weeks after, got an email, the teacher said, "I need to tell you something about your program." I said, "Okay, you never know if that's going to be good or bad." Boom, open to criticism. And she goes, I have a student that has been really depressed, really having a hard time for months and months and months. And after your concert, that kid came up to me in tears. I said, "Oh, Lord." I said something, I'll probably say F-bomb or something. And the kid is just all distraught. Came up to her in tears and said, "This is the first time that I felt hope." Yeah, God darn it, that's just amazing. And then, when I look at our jazz camps and whatnot, you've got, prior to a couple of years ago, we were doing all ages, and we had, 12-year-olds with 85-year-olds, with like a 30-something mother of two in the middle of them, and they're all playing together. How weird, you would never find that anywhere. Maybe on a golf course, I don't know. You would never see that. And when I look at the jazz concerts, it brings such diversity together. It's absolutely amazing. This is way too simplified of an example, but if you go to a hip hop or a rap concert, you kind of know the demographic you're going to get. If you go to a country concert or a Darius Rucker concert, I love Darius. Unbelievably, he actually writes me back on Instagram. I've been playing his band for a moment, so. But at any rate, you go to Darius Rucker concert, and you kind of know the demographic you're going to get, right? You go to a jazz event, and it's all those people and everything in between. It's white, black, male, female, young, old, rich, poor. It's the left wing, the right wing. It doesn't matter. We're all like together. We're sitting down. We're eating together. We're enjoying our collective humanity together. That is so important in such a polarized time that we're living in, when things are so chaotic. I don't care what side you're on. All I care about is if you stand up for treating people with respect and empathy, taking a moment to understand their story and where they're coming from, right? As long as you're living life to make your immediate circle a little bit better, you're doing all right. But you got to be careful what you think that better is. There are truths, and there are your made-up truths. So make sure you're clear on that. Jazz will keep you honest. If you're trying to play a chord change, and you're trying to insert a note that really doesn't work, but you're like, "That's what I believe." And jazz will say, "Nope. Leave that all you want, buddy. It's not working. It's not swinging. It's not vibing with reality," right? That's what I love so much about this music. Now, one of the things I'm super excited about is our jazz festival. Started. You keeping me on time?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got plenty of time.
Oh, too bad for y'all. I won't take all my time. I would love to open it up for some questions, comments, criticisms, otherwise. Our jazz festival started in 2018. It started at the Den. I think it was Music Farm, and then became the Senate. I guess it's still the Senate, but we had the great Chris Potter. He's a hometown hero. If you look up the name Chris Potter, you'll see like, oh my gosh, that guy came from Columbia. Yes, he did. And that the festival's been growing organically. Now the COVID hit 2020, 2021, but I'm the type of cat that doesn't let anything stop him. We immediately shifted to virtual. We did a virtual jazz festival, a virtual jazz camp. It was amazing. It went so well. Actually, the festival out of Chiraw, South Cackalack, where Dizzy Gillespie's from, they asked me to do their virtual jazz festival. The virtual jazz camp, we had people tuning in from literally all over the planet, from Canada to, oh my God, it was France. Like all these people taking Columbia's jazz camp. That was so freaking cool. I always had a goal to bring back the Main Street Jazz Festival, the big history of the Main Street Jazz Festival. And we did that for a couple of years. Let me tell you, producing an event out on Main Street is hard. It's hard. Logistically, like, it's expensive. It's like there's hot asphalt that your guests you're asking to sit on. I mean, it's tough, but we did it, and it was cool. This past year, unfortunately, it got rained out, but thankfully, man, I got to prop up Cobra Center. They're doing such great work. Nate Tracer is phenomenal. I love that guy. Weirdly, that Saturday, he didn't have anything programmed at the Cobra Center. Saturday, and then Nate, we had less than 24 hours. All the weather people were saying, you got to go indoors. I have nowhere else to go. He opened his doors, we went to the Cobra Center, we still had our festival, the artists still performed, people who got the last minute messaging came out and had a great time. In the meantime, Finley Park is being developed. My relationship with the city is being developed. My relationship with the county council is being developed. Our relationship with various business leaders is being developed, and the stars began to align. So now this year, we're able to rebrand and relaunch our annual jazz festival as the Cola Jazz and Roots Fest. Which I got some posters here. If anybody wants to take them back to your business and hang them up, please do. So we're going to be out at Finley Park. We've expanded 2 days. It's May 15, 16, so next weekend, free and open to the public. This festival costs over $140,000, $150,000 to produce. And it's only able to happen because of the support from the city, county council, from our sponsors. We have our first presenting sponsor through Palmetto Citizens. They are amazing. They're so cool to work with. Very excited about this. We've been presenting some concerts out in Finley Park. Transparently, the first couple that we did, man, there's some logistical stuff they need to work out. And it was kind of rough. It was rough, but they've worked it out. They secured a great sound system. Got a great company they're working with lighting. Vendors, situations all getting worked out. And then the only learning curve is just teaching. Now, I spent time in New York. I lived in New York for 8 or 9 years. And like when you go into a gig or something, if you have to park 10 blocks away, man, you're close. Boy, I got a good parking spot. And, you walk your 5, 6, 8 blocks, 10 blocks, whatever it is to the gig. So here, it's a little bit of a learning curve that people have to park 1.5 blocks away, right? If it's a large event. At a parking structure and then walk down, which really is not a bad walk. So we're just, at these Friendly Fridays are picking up, doing well, and people are learning how easy it is to access the park. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the infrastructure. Excited about the lineup. And I want to just quickly talk about the Roots, Jazz and Roots Fest. The Roots Fest, it celebrates music beneath the music. The blues cries, the gospel shouts, the field hollers, the work songs, the street parades, the dance rhythms, folk melodies, spiritual soul traditions, ancestral grooves that gave jazz all of its power, all those ingredients forming this incredible gumbo. And those roots, they reach across oceans and centuries. You could hear them in the triplet-based rhythms, the polyrhythms, the call and response, the communal pulse carried from West Africa. You could hear it in the lilt of Irish jigs. The same thing, same 6/8 feel. That improvisation, that pentatonic scale, the 5-note scale. The Irish reels, the folk dances that helped shape the rhythmic language of early America. You can hear it in the sacred songs of Black church, the brass bands of New Orleans, the front porch blues of the South, the dance music that brought people together long before recordings, radios, streaming platforms. I'm gonna do a sidebar. Jazz music was integrated before baseball. Jazz music was integrated before anything else. Jazz music arguably brought about the civil rights movement. It's just bringing people together out of the joy of humans being together. That's important. It's so important. So jazz has deep roots, but jazz also became the root system of all this other music. Jazz grew and flowed so much of the music that followed. The rhythm and blues, the rock and roll, soul, funk, hip-hop, fusion, gospel jazz, Latin jazz. Back to hip-hop, we're about to do a DJ spin session for kids, reaching kids that have no interest in band music or jazz music, but they love hip-hop and rap and they love DJ stuff. So, okay, we'll meet you there. So we got a grant from South Carolina Arts Commission. We're going to do a DJ lesson, teaching them how to do the DJ consoles and stuff, but showing them that a lot of these samples come from Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis. What is that? Who is that? Well, let me tell you. It's a great gateway drug into jazz. So you got jam band culture, modern pop harmony, film scoring, countless forms of improvisational music. Jazz taught American music how to swing, how to bend, how to converse, how to improvise, and how to tell the truth in real time. Like I said, that ugly note, that's not going to work. You got to always be telling the truth. So our Roots Fest is a way of honoring that full cultural story. Now, we can't represent every single branch, subset, tradition in one singular weekend. We can't do it, but we will do it over time. And no festival can. The Jazz and Heritage Festival tries. I think they do a pretty good job, but they're still lacking in some things. But they also have a full, 2 weeks? We got 2 days. Cola Jazz is going to use the Roots Fest to open the lens wider to celebrate jazz, the music that came before it, the music that jazz helped make possible. So for example, on the opening day, we got the New Orleans Brass Band, Soda City Brass Band. Following up that is a great piano player out of North Florida named Martin Bejarano. He's doing a Purple project. It's the music of Prince. He's doing jazz versions of Prince music. That's going to be cool. And then following him is a super exciting dynamic band called Syre, S-Y-R. They're a Celtic rock band. So when I get pushback, yeah, that's not a jazz festival, I'm not a jazz band. So, man, it's legit. Jazz was born from these Irish jigs and Irish reels and 6/8 stuff. It's pentatonic scale. It's all jazz, baby. It's a direct influence. It's historical. It's factual. And they are so awesome. So I'm excited about them headlining Friday. Saturday, we got the incomparable Brittany Turnipseed opening up. If y'all aren't familiar with Brittany Turnipseed, she's local. She's a powerhouse. She's the amateur night at the Apollo winner. Incredible. Following her is a smooth jazz trumpet player, Willie Bradley. He calls Orangeburg home. And then we got a fun band out of Hilton Head and Folder Roll. They do jazz versions of a lot of popular music. And then after them is a gorgeous, amazing vocalist out in New York. Her name is Lucia. And she sings bossa novas and boleros and Latin music. And she is blowing up big time. So I am so thankful that I contracted her before her current rate. She's twice the price now. God, I actually was on time with that one. And then our big headliners, India Owens and the Cookout. India Owens is a bass player on Colbert Show, Stephen Colbert Show. She is so dynamic. She has a band called the Cookout, and three horns, trumpet, trombone, saxophone, soulful, gospel, swing. Very dynamic. She is absolutely amazing. So we're excited about presenting her as our Saturday headliner. So bringing all these sounds together in the heart of Columbia, Cola Jazz is building more than just this weekend festival. It's a public celebration of who we are, where we come from, and how much music brings a city together. Jazz, this is jazz in its fullest cultural context. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Does anybody have any questions, comments, criticisms, otherwise? Happy to field anything. Yes, ma'am.
Have you read the book Blue Like Jazz by Donald Miller?
I have. It's been a minute, though.
I had to look up the quote, but he said, he said, I never liked jazz music because jazz music doesn't resolve. But I was outside of the Baghdad Theater in Portland one night when I saw a man playing on the saxophone. I stood there for 15 minutes and he never opened his eyes. After that, I liked jazz music. And he's taught, it's really, really cool to watch all the things that you do brass band is my favorite.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, marching around, so, thank you,
Yeah, right on. Right on, very cool. Yeah, jazz is a living music. It's real time. There's no past, there's no present. It is who you are right here and now. It's the journey. It's the joy of the journey, not the destination. Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Could you give us more background about yourself? You sort of just appeared somehow. So can you tell us where you came from?
I'm not really here. Y'all are all whatever's in those drinks. I grew up in South Carolina. I'm a Carolina kid, a Carolina boy, so my mom taught me right to open doors for people, you know. I say thank you. So I grew up in Florence, South Carolina. Discovered jazz late. It was after high school. The cool bass player in high school said he wanted to have some horns in his band, so I went to his rehearsal, and they started grooving and playing. It's like, all right, man, play. What? Where's the music? Where is it? He said, no, man, you improvise. What the heck is that? What did you just say to me? Would you call me an imp? What? So we went back and he played some John Coltrane. That was too crazy for that time. Then he was like, all right, he played some Louis Armstrong. I was impressed by the trumpet, but the music just sounded old and dated to me, which nowadays I know it's actually still very, very modern music. And then he played Miles Davis. He played Miles Davis Stella by Starlight. That haunting trumpet sound, that just serving the melody, just patience. Oh my God. It hit me somewhere that I didn't know existed. So then I went after the music. So I did my undergrad at Winthrop University, and at that point I was collecting every jazz record I could. I was following Wynton Marsalis. And so I moved to New Orleans, did my master's in jazz at the University of New Orleans. So I was great Ellis Marsalis. Stayed on living and playing and making records and touring out of New Orleans, and I moved to New York because that's the tradition. Go to New York and see if you could hang. That first year was brutal. That was one of the few darkest moments of my life, but I'm stubborn. I stuck to it, worked my way through it all, and ended up getting some incredible management. Made some more records, played the Newport Jazz Festival, Blue Note, all the jazz standard, all the main clubs. Then I moved to Europe and kind of reinvented myself over there. Been very fortunate to work with some amazing musicians across this planet. I've been fortunate to play from Croatia to California, Canada to Brazil, all over. It's just that my trumpet has been a plane ticket to see the world. I had some life stuff happen, and came back to Columbia and discovered that there was some really amazing jazz in here. So I have a history in web development. So I put together a jazz calendar, and then I did a compilation CD highlighting all the different band leaders around town. Started doing weekly gigs, highlighting all the different musicians around town and trying to grow the scene. And naturally just started doing community-facing things. And in fact, we ultimately became a proper brand. We became a nonprofit. And here we are. It's amazing. I never thought in a million years that this is where I would be with a wife and 2 kids and doing all this stuff. It's pretty remarkable. You just never know. Yep.
Yes, I'm curious. First of all, thanks for being here. As a landowner and a trustee, and I'm really interested in any kind of relationship you have with Robert Gardner. I imagine that y'all know each other. I assume so.
Yes.
Number one, and number two, I'm asking this question because I don't look at Facebook very often, but I happen to see this guy singing by the name of Eddie Dalton on Facebook, and I said to my daughter, man, I love this guy. I might go to one of his concerts. And she started laughing. She said, Mom, he's AI. So my question to you is, what kind of impact is AI having on jazz?
Yeah, that's great. My point of view is AI is a remarkable tool. It's incredible the advancements that AI is making in healthcare, in business. It's a tool, and it all depends on how you use it. Money is a tool. It all depends on, you can put money towards good. You can put money towards a whole bag of cocaine. I mean, it's like, it depends on how you use it, right? I am not for people using AI to usurp someone else's intellectual property or their creative output. I'm fundamentally against that, but I was against that before AI. I was against people stealing from others, basically. I'm fundamentally against that. So if you're using AI in that regard to create music and to take work away from incredible artists, that's not a good thing. For me professionally, it has been an incredible game changer in terms of organizing business. I hate spreadsheets, I hate crunching numbers, but I can take like a Google Doc that has 11 and 13 different tabs with information all scattered throughout, and I kind of know where everything is. It's how my brain, like if you look at my office, it's a disaster, but I know where everything is. So it's my type of organization, right? But I could dump that into ChatGPT and go, give me a summary report of this. Where do we stand with this grant? How are we spending? How is it compared to national averages? That kind of stuff. And within minutes, I'm getting a very clear picture of what's happening, coupled with compare and contrast with other organizations that do similar activities. And grant writing, I'm not a trained grant writer. People go to school for years on this. But I'm able to brain dump all these answers to the questions and say, hey, can you help me get this closer to a grant appropriate language? Can we research the grantee and make sure that what we're applying for is in line with them or whatever, that we're in alignment. And immediately I can find out if we're in alignment, and then I can take that to our grant writer and go, here, I got you along the way. And then, humans are just going to be better at that because they have working relationships with like Central Carolina Community or artists, South Carolina Arts, or like the Nord family or whoever. Like they say, okay, well, yeah, that's great. That's really great appropriate language, but I know this lady, and she's going to read that as being too sterile. So I'm going to put a little personality on it. You know what I mean? It's been an amazing tool, absolutely amazing tool.
Maybe one more question?
No.
More?
No.
We're over time, so I told you.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Cheers. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right.
All right, so. Thanks, Ken. So next week's speaker, actually no speaker, it's the scholarship day, so I don't see Kay here today, but they're gonna put on a great show. There she is, look at that. Hiding behind that. So anyway, we're looking forward to that next week, Kay, so thank you. And without further ado, we're gonna do the song.
Spacious skies for amber waves of rain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
I'll see you.